So we're gonna have our first 5. They're going to take an intermission for about 15 minutes, and then we'll end with the last 4. Unfortunately, our MC, I'm like your second. I'm your second runner-up. Tidada, she got sick, so I know. So without further ado, I'm gonna ask Denise, Judge Denise Hernandez.
Okay.
Hi everyone. Are we good?
We're good.
I was trying to figure out if tonight I was going to drop my Lady B rap persona. Hi everyone, I am Judge Denise Hernandez, and I want you to take a moment to imagine what a world can look like when we plant seeds of hope, liberation, and joy. Imagine what a world would look like when we transform criminal justice to human justice. And it's so important that we really focus in on these words. Why is it important to transition from criminal justice to human justice? And that's because our justice systems should create positive societal connections. Our justice systems should be helping people heal, address trauma, and learn how to connect back with community. But so much of our justice system eliminates the thing most, which is humanity. Our criminal justice system oftentimes, even in just the name, criminal justice focuses on criminal. It forgets that people are people, and we have one of the most expansive justice systems, carceral systems, with over 2 million people in prison. We have the world's largest prison population. And this is concerning because the majority of the people who are impacted by the criminal justice system have experienced significant trauma. Trauma is oftentimes the thing that leads people to the justice system, whether it's trauma at a young age, trauma in a moment of conflict, or trauma that they experience while they're incarcerated. Over 98% of women say that they experience trauma in the carceral system, with men between 60 to 82%. And I know this so well because my dad is formerly incarcerated. My dad, a migrant farmer, struggled because of racial trauma in the United States, forced to be viewed as a second-class citizen, found himself in the carceral system and treated like he wasn't human. I then watched that same system discriminate against my mom, treat her like she was othered. And these are the things that inspired me to say, let's focus on human justice, where we can begin to address trauma and know what can we do in the hardest moments of people's lives, what can we do to provide support and connect and remove isolation. Because we know isolation, removal from society, actually makes the system and harm and trauma worse. So we can start with human justice, where we don't focus on shame as a form of accountability, where instead we focus on safety, transparency, collaboration, where we can reduce the power differentials that create oppressive structures, where people can show up in their wholeness. And this is something that I'm doing every day in my courtroom. In my courtroom, I am focusing on addressing this issue, bringing humanity back to how we treat people. We don't have to do things as they were always done. We can do something different. We can do healing. We can focus on supporting people to connect them back to community by treating harm in our carceral system as a public health issue. Something that you would do for illness. What do you need when you're sick? You need community, you need food, you need support, you need nourishment, and that's what we need when you're impacted by the justice system.
Need that care package.
And I really started doing this with my youth justice program called Transformative Youth Justice. And I began more opportunities where people can provide for themselves, where we can move away from just surviving to thriving. And it's been beautiful because these three things have been the things that have led me: collective care, radical accountability, not focused on shame, focused on accountability rooted in transparency and mutual collaboration. And most importantly, community building. It takes all of us, each and every, to transform our society to a more healed, community-centered society where we can recognize that we're interconnected, each and every one of us. We are all one of the same community. And I began focusing that on my supporting them through their growth, to help them when they are impacted by the justice system, to lead them, to get connected to community. They get a dismissal, and they begin to build their life anew, taking a hard moment and turning it into something positive. And so I invite you to realize that today we plant seeds for our future generations. And let's work together to transform criminal justice to human justice. Thank you.
Woo! Great work.
Thank you, Denise. That was powerful. Powerful, because we've all been touched by the criminal justice system, you know? And some of us have been stuck in that cycle, right?
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing that powerful message. All right, so our next speaker is Ms. La Verdad, Ms. Lily True.
I cannot believe y'all have me following Judge Lewis.
You got this. You got this.
Okay. You don't want to hear Judge Lewis, but when Paulina and Mondo invited me, they said I could have 5 minutes to talk about myself, and so I said, sign me up.
I don't know if this mic is cutting it. Is my cutting it? Yeah.
Tech support.
There we go.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna try to not move around a lot and see if that helps. But good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here, y'all are a beautiful crowd. My name is Lily True, and I think to kind of carry on the theme a little bit from Judge Denise, I'm gonna spend the next 5 minutes really channeling the spirit of my dad. So I'm gonna cry. I'm going on now, I'm gonna cry. But my name is Lily True, and one of the things I always say is to know me is to know where I came from, and to know my legacy, to know my ancestors. So I'm ready to start. So I am the child of immigrants. My parents were Vietnamese refugees. They came to the U.S. in 1980 after the fall of Saigon. They were boat people. So they came to this country knowing no English, with nothing but the clothes on their backs and a hope for a better future. And so when they were able to come to the US, they tried to achieve the American dream. They got married, they had me, they had my sister, but this is my presentation, so you'll find my sister is not in any of the photos. So it was my mom, my dad, and my sister, and myself. And we grew up in a very typical immigrant family home, really just wanting the best for all of us, wanting to achieve, like I said, this American dream. I was raised in Houston, Texas. Very proud of Houston. Grew up in Southwest Houston in the Ely Sharpstown area, incredibly diverse, beautiful, multicultural community. And my parents, again, not knowing any English and not being very well educated, decided they were going to take a shot at being convenience store owners to provide a life for my sister and I. So that's where I grew up. This is the exact store, actually, the Super K is where I grew up. So my job as the eldest child of immigrant refugee parents was to fulfill these goals of theirs. I became the first in the family to go to college. I got a job in corporate America. And to my parents, a job where I could sit at a desk that was air conditioned, where I could wear nice clothing, that was the American dream. So by all intents and purposes, I had achieved it in my 20s. I had achieved the American dream. I had this corporate American job. And then I became kind of obsessed with this idea of legacy. I refused to believe that my parents left their homes, their families, everything they knew to come to this country for me to just sit at a desk and just type away until I retired. And so this idea of legacy really just sat with me. And to be honest, I kind of struggled, right? I really didn't know what success was. I was still kind of tied to this idea of
I'm wearing nice clothes, I'm sitting at a desk, this is a good job, what do I need to do? So in 2021, luckily, I met a group of amazing people here in Austin, amazing organizers, and we together hosted a Stop Asian Hate rally at the beautiful Houston Phillips campus. This was back in April 2021. Love the campus, amazing place, beautiful space in Austin. And we hosted this rally because at the time, it was the height of COVID, there was a rising anti-Asian hate, and I felt compelled to do something about it. And in this experience, it was really a life-altering experience. We saw 1,000 people from all across Austin and the area come to support us. Not all of them were Asian, it was truly a community event. That was when I really truly learned what it meant for Asian Americans living in Texas and living in this country. Despite being the fastest growing racial group in this state, in this area, in this country, we were facing racism every day. Not just during COVID, for decades before, and every day since. And so I thought to myself, how do I make a change? So I decided I wanted to leave the corporate world to dedicate my career and to dedicate my legacy to trying to find a way to solve this problem. How do we create a world that is equitable for all people, including people who look like me? So I told my dad, this is a really cool guy, super cool looking guy here. I said, Dad, I think I'm gonna leave my corporate job. I wanna go into politics, policy, and nonprofit. And my dad looked me in the face and said, daughter, he said to me, this government, this system, this democracy is not made for people like you and me.
Man.
And that broke my heart. That this man who had been in this country since 1980, who paid taxes, who did everything that he was supposed to do, who had achieved this American dream and raised 2 amazing daughters, did not feel that he belonged. So I made it my life mission to take up space. I said, you think we don't belong? I'm taking up space. I'm gonna do it at the Capitol. I'm gonna do it at the floor of the legislature. I'm gonna do it everywhere where someone will give me a mic. And that's what I did. And I am so proud that since then, I've gone on to become the co-founder and executive director of Asian Texans for Justice. We are a civilized organization with a vision of a future where all people in Texas feel bold in their belonging. And we mean all people, not just Asian people, all people in Texas should feel bold in their belonging. So next month, will be the 2-year anniversary since my dad's passing. So my dad really wasn't able to see me build this, but his legacy and his impact on me. And my message to him is that, Dad, you belong. That's what drives me, and that's what motivates me to continue to do this work every day. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you. That's an amazing story. And you know, it's one of those stories that you also hear that, you know, when something like that happens to one of us, this happens to all of us. And where is this happening? In probably the most progressive city in the United States, right? Austin, Texas. That's right.
Is it
So,
the most progressive?
thank you, Lily, so much. Thank you for
Let's talk about it.
your true self to the stage. Cheers. All right, and now, next up is Miss Monica Maldonado.
Monica.
Hola, buenas noches. My name is Monica Maldonado. I'm the founder of Más Cultura. And it's so amazing to be in this space with Denise and all of you. But I say Denise particularly because she's been part of this journey. She sat with me in a coffee shop when I was trying to figure out what my purpose was. And I'm really grateful to her and to everyone here who supports Más Cultura. And for the record, I don't usually do public speaking. No me gusta. I don't like it. And I went through this journey as I started putting together my presentation and realized, wow, I got a lot of shit. And in order for me not to go on and on about all the awesomeness and like Julio likes to say, we do the most, I wrote some notes down to help guide me through the presentation. So I named my presentation From Need to Impact. aligning passion and leadership. Me perdí, es que estaba leyendo. Fire the tape. Oh, yeah. Okay, we're starting over. From me to impact, aligning passion and leadership to redefining Latino masculinity. So on my very first slide, I have two pictures here. One, you will see a car club, very traditional shirt with the car club name, El Barrio, La Virgencita. I don't know how you say that in English. And then this group of men, and these are two of the very, very first pictures I ever took at the park, which is why I decided to include them in my presentation. So I imagine for almost every person, there comes a moment where you have a void in your being. That being is called a soul. I felt that void when I returned to Austin from Phoenix in 2018. I had only been gone 1 year and 8 months. When I returned, I felt like a stranger in my own city. I was quickly realizing that this progressive Austin just wasn't as rich in the culture as Phoenix. I missed the lowriders, the Chicano and indigenous art shows, the DJs that you can find any and everywhere, playing funk music, soul, oldies. So a few weekends passed, and then a friend of mine, Denise, a different Denise, we headed down to Chicano Park. That day when I arrived, it felt effortless. I felt at home. Most of all, I felt inspired. I was so impressed by the men. They exuded confidence. They had a brotherhood you could feel in the joy. So vamos en la voz. Slide 2.
Good question.
Slide 2.
Oh, you mentioned it.
Yeah, so slide 2. Right after. One more. Can I cue you when it's time for the next slide? So, family and trust. So I returned to the park the following weekend. Just picture this: lowriders, barbecue grills, and attentive women. Let the truth be known, they were the watchdogs. I started sharing about my vision to create a photo exhibition of the cars in Corcuda. I got a lot of eye rolls. But as I walked off, there was a lady that came up to me. Her name's Yolanda Guerrero. She's pictured here in the pink blouse. She came up to me and she asked me, "What do you need from us?" I said, "Well, I need models and I need cars." And she said, "Well, I have a daughter. She knows how to do makeup." And she was a lawyer. That next day, early in the morning, I received a text. The text said, "What's up, homegirl?" I responded and I said, "What's up, homegirl?" And I think it was at this moment that I knew that trust and family were at the pillar of what I had experienced at the park those 2 past weekends. So true selves. The exhibit happened, and in this picture you will see 2 men. And it's actually one of my most favorite pictures. We took a barbershop and we turned it into a gallery, a pop-up gallery. And I love this picture because for the first time, I personally was witnessing men experience art and feel really proud about it. And they could see themselves in the art that was being exhibited in that space. This moment, it became really clear to me that men were struggling to balance the expectations placed upon them and to really be their true selves. They were expected to be strong leaders and protectors, but often had few spaces where they could express their fears, emotions, and challenges. This is one of the many moments. I can tell you that our community is filled with men, Latino men, that really take a lot of pride and really do not get to experience their true selves because they do not have the space to do that.
Right.
So I named this. See? Okay. I coined this natural leaders. This is one of. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Híjole, a lot of editing for whoever's recording. Les vas a tener que pagar más, mano. Natural born leaders. I love this picture. I remember being at the Vanessa Guillen, and I was the project manager. It was the first mural that went up in Dust Springs. It took me a year to get the wall. We're talking about every other day going to the convenience store and asking for the wall. And that day when I showed up and asked for the wall to do the Vanessa Guillen memorial mural, without hesitation, he said, I can't cuss, right? He said, F those putos. And so we did the mural, and throughout that experience, I had never seen so many men show up. Some of them showed up right after work with Domino's Pizza, some of them with cases of Modelo, some of them with flowers. It was very evident to me that the men in our community were vulnerable and that they were also hurting. Yeah, I forgot the notes. Maybe you'll play this with me. Will it play?
And it won't play.
Okay. So, I think, at that moment at the Vanessa Guillen mural, I really started thinking about the men I had been meeting in the community. And one of those groups were these graffiti writers. These are original graffiti writers, Kane, Lace, Remote. I don't know any of their real names, sorry. And I came up with this idea. This photographer had reached out to me and she's like, I really want to get back. She had me on the phone for like 2 hours telling me about her struggles with feeling like she fit and not feeling Latina enough. I said, well, you have a camera. I have these dudes. Let's set up this photo shoot. And what the video demonstrates is how playful these guys are with each other. They actually have this little tiny puppy right there. But for me, it was one of those days where we forget that while there's these struggles within Latino men, that they are Dios, that they're dads, that they're sons, and that there's this playful side to them, and that we have to create that space for them and invite them into it. And when I mean invite them into it, it's not a Facebook event. It's not a flyer. It's picking up the phone, calling, having that conversation about what matters to you, who matters to you, and then creating that space based on what they share with you. No?
No.
Okay. So this video, I wish you could hear it. It's really high. But we did another mural in North Austin off Olin Road. There had been a paletero who had been killed in the process of being robbed for $30. And when we showed up to that mural, number one, within 48 hours, we raised all the money to buy the supplies. We had a team of muralists, and we showed up to the site, and it was really evident that there was a lot of pain in that neighborhood. A lot of that pain was tied to brown and black, the hurt that was happening between both of those communities over an immigrant man being killed by 2 young black men. And that was the truth. The tension was there. Nobody wanted to talk about it. And this kind of goes back to, relationship building, how powerful it is to bring men into space, that they are protectors also. And I made one phone call. My cousin was dating one of the dudes. And I was like, hey, I need a motorcycle crew here. I need security. And they came in. I can't even remember how many motorcycles, like hundreds of them. We got a DJ, we brought the lowriders in, and they made the space feel safe. And we cannot forget that the men in our community have the power to do that. Passion and purpose. Let me see. This I will read. It says, passion and purpose. And this was at the Philanthropists mural. Through relationships, mentorship, and community building efforts, we've seen Latino men stepping up as leaders in a way. Leaders who trust each other, who care for their families deeply, and who understand that caring for oneself and others is a powerful act. Future generations. This was the mural in progress the evening before we finished it up. And this was a really powerful moment. The father of the little girl here, he walked up with his two daughters, and she politely asked him could she have a moment to herself. And as he walked away, she got down and she prayed. And it really spoke to me again how our men really, family, community, how much it embodies that. And I honestly, when I see this picture, I don't really have words for it, but it's for me a really powerful image. So all this to bring you to a few more things. The fostering deep connections, pictured here is Ramon Maldonado. Ramon's a Chicano activist, brown beret, and this is actually kind of a funny story. I used to message him on Facebook all the time, and I could see he would read, and then he would never reply to me. And he did that for like a year. And then I had an art exhibition, and he showed up. Hi, I'm Ramon. Oh, I know who you are. He checked it out, he left, and he came back about 30 minutes later, and he had a video camera, like one of those big carry. I didn't even know he ate those. I didn't know what happened to the VHS tape he had in it. But anyhow, he told me that day, he said, I have your messages. And when my daughter's around, she reads them to me. He goes, I don't know how to read. So I don't want you to think I've been ignoring you this entire time. And we became friends. And 2 years ago, he requested a coffee breakfast meeting. And he shared with me that he had this vision to do a mural program with Dane Elementary in Dove Springs. That he needed a nonprofit to help him get the portable, get the insurance in the space, and we did that. And that shows him there creating the mural. And it was a beautiful project. We had children there. And the coolest part about it was most of the kids got walked there by their grandparents. And by the end of the program, the grandparents were in the class too. And then last year, he hit me up with another idea. He said, I see all these kids walking to school. Do kids still use bikes? And I'm like, well, they have them. They will, I'm sure, because I want to do a bike program. So we initiated a program that is sponsored by my organization, Hospital Food, called Little Homies Bike Project. And single-handedly, I will take no credit, I wrote him a letter. I said, Ramon, here's the letter. You gotta take it and you gotta ask for bikes. He went to Yellow Bike Project. He's gone to local businesses, and he's given away almost 200 bikes. Dove Springs, St. John, and all those things, some of them sounded kind of sad, but I will say that through building these relationships, listening, removing those stigmas, even out of my own mindset, we've done some really amazing things. The most amazing, I won't say the most amazing, but something to be really proud of, has been this exhibition at the Texas Population History Museum. And Ramon has a bike in there. It's on the 3rd floor. The bike is still there. The actual exhibition, Caros y Cultura, which I was one of the 4 advisors on it. Amazing experience to get to work alongside the men, bring them into the museum. There were cars for them to engage with the children who were there doing film trips, all of the things. Definitely a really proud moment for me, and I think a really proud moment for the Latino community here in Austin. And from here, it's just like, we just gotta keep going. I'm like, what else we gonna do next? So transforming, not for ourselves, but for our legacy, I'll close out with reading this. And at the end, that what makes us strong is not our ability to bear it all alone, but our willingness to do it together. To build something lasting through authentic relationships and shared purpose. By addressing the need to redefine masculinity, we are creating a new legacy. One where men lead with heart, with dedication, and with the deep love they have for their families and their communities.
Good work.
It's okay. I feel seen. All right, thank you. So yes, si se pasan 5 minutos, it's okay. It's all right. We pass your 5-minute mark. I'm here for you. So next up is Ms. Frances Jordan.
Can y'all hear me? Yeah. I need my Hello everyone, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Frances Jordan. I wanted to talk about Get Under One Roof, leaders solving problems together. More explicitly, we need more leaders solving problems together, especially people of color in the nonprofit or problem-solving space. So for today's talk, I am defining leaders as people who have led others in significant capacity for over a year. I'm sure you've heard the saying, you don't want to be cooks in the kitchen. Despite my type A personality, if I am in an escape room with many leaders, you will see me fall back and watch leaders grow. Why? I have learned to let other leaders lead, but I'm always ready to go if needed. What if we had more leaders working on the issues together versus working on them separately, not tackling the same issues from our own angle? There are so many reasons we end up forging a new path on our own. But when you have big problems, you need more than one cook in the kitchen. When we look at coalitions, they collaborate with other organizations and pool resources, but not necessarily under the same umbrella. When coalitions work well, where expectations are clearly set, major magic happens. What if we could have coalition-level collaboration in one organization? What if all the cooks were in your kitchen and we were vibing? And I'm not saying that we don't have examples of this. I'm encouraging for us to look and see how we can have more of this in the world around us. So let me give you a quick rundown of how I got here. I have been doing leadership since summer camp as a child, when our camp leaders were acting crazy and I had to speak up. For a whole group of children, this doesn't make no sense.
I'm calling my mom.
At Tuskegee University, with some of these pictures at HBCU, I was a student body president, and it was the first time I was 100% surrounded by my peers. And it was a new experience meeting Black people of all shapes, sizes, and backgrounds. And after law school, I was the deputy director of Indiana's oldest civil rights organization. I served on board as director, blah, 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 all before I turned 30.
Talk to him.
I joined organizations like the Young Women's Alliance. This year, Adrian and I led the 2 orgs that put on Austin Under 40, and we raised the most money in the history of the event. But something was happening. My perspective on leadership was changing as I led to this big accomplishment. I was on an excellent trajectory to lead the next thing, share the next thing, but that's not what happened. A few years before that picture, Ferguson happened. Public instances of police brutality occurred again and again. And when we lost Angelina, so close to home, something changed. By this time, my hands were in many things in Austin, but not this. I had to think about where my sweat equity needed to go.
I had the leadership chops. I was a lawyer whose career started in civil rights and race relations, so I could have interjected wherever I felt, but my voice wasn't needed in the forefront. I had honed other skills, connections, and experience, and I had to shift my thinking to where my leadership was needed. So in 2017, like Batman, I had 2 jobs. My day job where I led a lot, and my side hustle, supporting other leaders in the work, being a sounding board that doesn't just say yes, but challenges fellow leaders with care as a leader who is not trying to be in charge. There's a place for a volunteer and support perspective, but leaders need support in ways that only other leaders understand, especially when the days are long and the nights are lonely.
Amen.
We need more people willing to do this, and more people willing to accept this type of support. Now, there will be friction, but it's worth figuring it out because the work for our communities is that important. So this leads me to talk about the elephant in the room. People need their shine. A few people legitimately don't, but recognition and credit are so important when you work hard. This is why it's hard for more leaders to work under one roof. How many of you all have worked so hard for something, and the only people who know are you, your mama, and God? So we need problems we face. We need so many people in the kitchen who don't care about credit a lot. If we are truly fighting white supremacy, if we are pursuing the communal nature our communities deserve, when leaders we support who need us get recognized, we share in that success instead of leaving and starting our own thing so we can get our own shine. I have learned there's never going to be enough recognition. So I have learned to soak up the celebration when I am recognized and let that cover the times where my effort and work is hardly noticed. And I always make sure to properly recognize the quiet ones, the behind the scenes folks when I can. Plus, when you've been around success, you learn that the hard work usually has already been done by the time someone's recognized. So, if you want to solve big problems and are a leader, consider where the best investment of your talent should be, serving your ego or others in your community. And if you are a leader with big problems to solve, don't hesitate to ask another bona fide leader to help you. Have a real convo, set expectations, and do dope shit together.
That part.
Tension will happen. Be prepared to de-escalate with open, vulnerable dialogue. Don't think about it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Nance.
Yes.
We work together. I gotta keep up. All right, next up we have, where is she? Yola Blue.
Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing tonight?
Good.
All the speakers you've seen earlier already. This has been such a fun event so far. I'm really grateful to be able to be here and talk to you guys today. So a little bit about myself. My name is Yola Blue, and I am a comedian and actress here in Austin, Texas. Thank you. A little bit about myself. I am very bad at parallel parking. So every time I have to do it, I will only park between cars that I can afford to hit. A lot of Chevy Sparks. I started doing stand-up comedy 13 years ago, and I became really obsessed with of finding other Asians also doing comedy as well. And I will say, in the 13 years that I've been doing it, it has been a very lonely journey for me. This is a little bit about myself, but probably once I moved here to Austin, I created a organization with a friend of mine called Y'all Be Asian, which is Austin's first all Asian American improv troupe.
Woo.
I wanted to create this because I wanted to have a platform and a community for other Asian Americans to be able to hone their comedy skills and to have an opportunity to get on stage and perform as much as possible. This was not my first foray into doing comedy for like Asian comedy.
I have started a organization called Disoriented Comedy with two other co-founders, XoXo and Jenny Yang. And we started the first sexy female Asian American comedy tour. We had always dreamed about getting a market show to be on our show, and after 3 years, we finally got her on top of other really cool comics like Ali Wong, Shane Wayne, Raymond Park, really cool people. And one day I was sitting in class with Kim Tran, my co-founder of Y'all Asian, and we thought, we were talking about how we noticed a lack of Asian American comedy showcases in town. And so we started thinking about it, and we were like, why doesn't that exist? And then we were, of course, being who we were like, we should create it. And then so we go and we created a show called Y'all Asian, and it started out as a showcase for stand-up, improv, sketch storytellers. And we put up the tickets, and we literally sold out the tickets within a mere hours. Thank you. We not only found that we needed a space to have showcase Asian American comedic talent, but people really wanted to see it. And so we started, after the showcase, we decided to form Y'all Asian as a improv troupe. Since then, we have done a ton of main stage shows, mostly at Old Town. We sold out every single show, and they ran 6 to 8 weeks long. We won awards. We've gone to our dream festivals. We started taking cute little photo shoot photos because we had budget. And so it was really exciting, and we really created Y'all Asian because we wanted people of all different levels of their comedy journey to come and join us and be with us, and it really became kind of a incubator for Asian American talent. Of course, that wasn't the only thing that I really wanted to do. I really wanted to get other people of color who had a dream of pursuing something like in entertainment to also have the opportunity to do that. So Y'all Asian started doing things like an open mic at the Asian American Resource Center called Loud and Proud. We also started doing an improv jam called Wally Jammin'. And it was basically to find other people of color improvisers to come and do improv and learn improv in a safe environment where they didn't feel judged and they felt like they could belong somewhere. And we constantly always had a lot of people. And one of the things that I'm most proud of is that Y'all Asian, the showcase, we have a huge showcase every single year in May during the API Heritage Month. And we started very humbly in a 75-seat theater, and we have grown to having audiences over 300 people coming to our shows. We have, we got our dream of performing at the historic Scottish Rite Theater, and I am very proud of it. And I will say that in my 13 years of doing comedy, there are a lot of funny Asians out there. You just need to give them the space and the opportunities to thrive. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you. All right. I love that. I love how all these stories, and we kind of are building our own community because we see that there's a gap there, right? So thank you so much, Viola. Y'all, we hungry.
That part.
We're about to get here, so we're gonna take a short intermission, as they call it. And so grab a drink. The food's it's actually right at the door. So I would say go rush Gabby over there. So we'll be back again in 10-15 minutes.